Is the used Tesla Model 3 still a smart buy in 2025? After a year of real family use, winter road trips, an accident, and the car nearly reaching 50,000 miles. We've owned this 2021 Tesla Model 3 long range, finished in black with white interior, for just over a year. It was bought secondhand from Arnold Clark. It's lived through Scottish winters, a daily commute, and a not so fun body shop saga, and everyday family life. So in this video, I want to give you an honest 1-year review. What's held up brilliantly, what's been frustrating, what ownership has actually been like, and whether buying a used Tesla Model 3 like this still makes sense today. This Model 3 was bought by my partner after spending time in my Model Y Performance and absolutely loving the experience. She wanted something smaller, more efficient, and cheaper to run, but still quick, practical, and good for long trips to the Scottish hills. We found this one at Arnold Clark in Birtley, near Newcastle, for £23,000, which felt like strong value at the time for a dual motor long range Model 3. And a big part of making it work financially was the Energy Saving Trust loan, which offers 0% finance for used EVs if you live in Scotland. That made a huge difference and is well worth looking into if you're eligible. At the time of purchase, the car had 35,000 miles on it. A year later, it's sitting at around 46,000 miles, so we've only done about 11,000 miles, which is relatively low for us, mainly because we tend to use my Model Y for longer trips. Because we have a young baby, I took the train down to Newcastle to collect the car on my partner's behalf. First impressions? Exactly what you would expect from a Model 3. It still looks sharp, even years on. The black paint suits the car really well, and opening the door, that white interior genuinely feels special. And yes, we'll talk a lot more about how that's held up later. So, was buying a used Tesla from a dealer stress-free? Well, the short answer, mostly, but not entirely. A few weeks into ownership, as the weather started getting colder, we noticed something wasn't right. Autopilot stopped working properly, and the vision-based parking features were unreliable or just completely unavailable. Initially, it felt like it may be a software issue, but it wasn't. Tesla inspected the car and discovered that the windscreen had been replaced previously, and the cameras hadn't been reconnected properly. Because of that, the heating element wasn't working correctly, causing the cameras to fog up in cold weather. To Arnold Clark's credit, once it was confirmed, they reimbursed us £300 by cheque. It was annoying, but it's also a good reminder, even from a big dealer, used cars can hide some issues. Our first proper trip was into the snowy Scottish Highlands, staying in a remote log cabin. This was a really great early test for my partner. The cold weather, rural roads, snow on the ground, exactly the conditions people worry about with EVs. The Model 3 was excellent. Traction was solid, even on these summer tires. Range held up better than expected, and preconditioning meant getting into a nice warm car every morning without scraping ice off the windscreen. That never gets old. Is a Model 3 practical enough for real trips? And absolutely, especially the long range. After a year, the day-to-day experience is where the car really shines. The efficiency is outstanding. Compared to the Model Y, this car feels lighter, more nimble, and noticeably cheaper to run. It's quick, still properly quick, and overtaking is effortless. Autopilot gets used constantly on motorways and longer drives. It reduces fatigue massively, and once you're used to it, it's hard to go back to a car without it. Storage is better than people expect, especially in comparison to the Model Y. Yes, it's a saloon, not a hatchback, but the boot is deep, and the underfloor storage is plentiful, and the frunk is perfect for cables, muddy shoes, or anything you don't want inside the cabin. Now, let's talk about the white interior, because everyone asks about it. And honestly, it's been excellent. Despite family use, it's held up amazingly well. No major staining, no tearing, no excess wear. It really brightens up the cabin and makes the car feel more premium, and it's actually easier to keep looking clean than most people think. If you're choosing between black and white, I'd still pick white every time. April wasn't a great month for this car. My partner was driving on the motorway, and her and another car moved into the middle lane at the same time, hitting side against side. Thankfully, the damage itself was surprisingly minor. Unfortunately though, the repair process was anything but. The car didn't come back until July, mainly due to repeated mistakes by the garage. They scratched the driver's window, they put marks and dents that weren't there before, and even damage to the bumper during replacement. It's something that could have easily been avoided, but I guess it's part of ownership reality. And it was frustrating seeing a well-kept car come back with new issues. Outside of that early camera issue and the accident, the car has been absolutely solid. No major mechanical problems, no scary warning lights or battery concerns. Running costs are really low, charging is way cheaper compared to petrol, and the insurance has been getting much better. Previously, it could have been up to £1,200 a year, but now it's sitting at around about £600. Compared to the equivalent petrol or diesel car, it still feels like an absolute no-brainer. So, is a used Tesla Model 3 long range still worth it after a year? Genuinely, yes. It's fast, efficient, comfortable, and packed with tech that still feels way ahead of most newer cars. The white interior has exceeded expectations, the battery has remained strong, and even after everything it's been through, it still feels like a modern, desirable car. It's not perfect, used cars never are, but for £23,000, this has been a fantastic purchase. If you're considering a used Model 3, especially a long range, I'd absolutely put it near the top of your list. Let me know in the comments, would you go for a used Tesla, or are you still on the fence? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.